Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Dion Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I'm going to be talking about my top 5 most played RPGs. This is an idea that I got from a fellow YouTuber whose channel, my channel not only features, but whose channel I really enjoy watching, and that is the OG GM's Adventures. So you can look that up in the featured if you go to the home page of my channel as well. So yeah, he did a video recently where he talked about his top 5 RPGs, and I'm just clarifying a little bit more so that these are my most played. So these are not the top 5 of a genre, and in some cases they duplicate genre. But these are the tabletop role-playing games that I have played the most throughout my career, or my time within the hobby, I should say. So without further ado, the first one up, and let's go here to my full view here. So the first one up is going to be First Edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So even though I began in the hobby playing D&D, most likely the Holmes edition, and then the first one that I owned was the Moldvay box set. We only played D&D for probably the first 2 years that we were playing, so maybe from like 77 to 79-ish. And then in 1979, early 1980, we shifted to First Edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and my gaming group played this through from 79 when it was released until about 86 or 87-ish. By that point, our group has, obviously graduated from high school, and a number of us had gone our separate ways. So we had stopped our D&D around 87 for the most part. Now, I don't have the next most played RPG in its original edition, but this book is the from 3rd edition. So Call of Cthulhu, and like I said, I have Call of Cthulhu 7th edition, but we started playing Call of Cthulhu when it first came out as well. I, being a big Robert E. Howard fan and a big H.P. Lovecraft fan, it was an obvious shift over to playing this. We also played a lot, and I'll give an honorable mention to TSR's Conan RPG, which is why I bring up Robert E. Howard. But we spent more time with Call of Cthulhu. That was most likely 1st and 2nd edition. I only grabbed this because this was our setting of choice, and this was the earliest edition that I could find reasonably priced as well. So I jumped on this, and I would use this setting for 7th edition. So Call of Cthulhu, definitely one that we spent the better part of, I'd say, 82-ish through 85, 87. So a good 5 years of playing that. My third in choice, and these aren't in any real particular order as far as preference or even chronologically, Villains and Vigilantes 2nd edition. I absolutely love this game, and even though I did not play, I didn't play Marvel, TSR's Marvel at the time, but I did try Champions, and this was by far a much more, a favorite game compared to Champions. I really didn't like Champions as opposed to this. So this game we spent tons and tons of time playing, probably a little bit longer than we played Call of Cthulhu, if I'm kind of recalling more often. We certainly played it more often than we did Call of Cthulhu. Really love this game. Villains and Vigilantes 2nd edition. I recommend you get the the older version. I don't know how, how the newer versions of it compare, but I'd certainly go with older if you can. Next in line, and again, I don't necessarily know the chronology, but we were, my gaming group was playing 4 times, 5 times a week. I mean, every day after school, we were playing, and then once or twice on the weekends, we would often play, and that was going through the whole length of elementary or middle school, junior high, and then the first couple of years of high school, all the way up through, well, we only had a couple of years in high school. But even when I shifted high schools, I would still drive out to my friend's house to continue playing, even though we lived one town removed at that point. But the next one in the list would be Star Frontiers, Alpha Dawn. We also had Nighthawks, but we took just the ship aspects of Nighthawks without the actual miniatures combat system, and we just ported that over to here. And we used Zebulon's Guide to the Galaxy as well, or to the frontier space as well. And so this was another one that we played very, very often. And more recently, I've played some Star Frontiers as well. Probably about 2 years ago, I played some online as well. Wrote a couple new adventures for it, and so the game is very much alive and well. Which you can look it up on Facebook, and there is an actual Star Frontiers Alive and Well community built up around Star Frontiers, and I recommend that you go there and check it out. Then last but not least, chronologically, certainly more recently than those, would be MYFAROG. So I picked up MYFAROG for the first time in 2015. It was brought to my attention, the game, due to its negative press. And I, being somewhat academic, I like to make judgments for myself and see game systems and such. And the game system itself was getting a lot of criticism as well. So when I first picked it up, and it was cheap, I mean, it's still very cheap. It's around $10 for the entire system, and that's in print on demand. So you really can't go wrong price-wise. And really enjoyed the system. It certainly has been something that I've played most often. I've done quite a bit of writing for it as far as adventures are concerned, and even published a few adventures for it. So I'm close to about 5 years, almost 6 years playing this system here. And so it definitely falls into my top 5 as far as games that I've played the most of over these past 40 and some odd years. Now, there's a couple other honorable mentions. I've played quite a bit of Modiphius's, Conan, the 2D20 system. I've also played, I could have easily put in Dungeon Crawl Classics, which I've played several sessions of Dungeon Crawl Classics as well, but nothing in comparison to these top 5 here. And like I said, the Conan 2D20, I've actually written probably about 6 adventures for that, and played that a dozen or so times. Ran that game system a dozen or so times. So that would certainly get the 6th spot if I was doing my top 6. So once again, I hope you enjoyed this video. I highly recommend that if you're involved in this hobby, I'd love to see other people out there doing their top 5 most played, and that way you're just talking about the games that you've put the most time into, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the best games or the most popular games, whatever. It's just the ones that you have found that have appealed to you the most. And hey, as long as you're enjoying the hobby, it doesn't matter if it's a game that sells millions of copies or one that sells 200. So once again, thanks for joining. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, and definitely take a look at the OG GM's adventures. His channel, it's featured on my channel, so it's very easy to find, along with some of those others that I have featured there as well. I think that I have a good mix of featured creators on my webpage and my channel that you can just check out what they're doing as well. So once again, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe out there, and I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen sometime soon. You'll have a great afternoon.